Let us pray. Father, today we are more than thankful to be here in your house, and we pray, oh God, that as we ponder on the scriptures, you will help us receive your word with all willingness. Help us to be the fertile ground where the seed of your word is planted, so it can grow and give fruit, so that your name be glorified among us. May your Holy Spirit speak to our hearts and speak to the intellect of your people. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. Today we are going to continue talking about giving. And last week we talked about the meaning of generous giving. And you may remember that I said that the biblical meaning of giving generously is this. It is not how much you give, but how much of yourself you are investing in your giving. That's generous giving from the Bible. It's not amounts, it's about how much of yourself you are putting in whatever you are giving. Are you with me so far? But today I want to talk to you not only about generous giving, I want to talk to you about cheerful giving. Because it's very important that we understand the meaning of being cheerful givers. The story is told of a mother who wanted to teach a lesson to her daughter. The mother gave the little girl a quarter and a dollar bill when they were in church. She said, "Push whichever you want in the collection plate and keep the other one for yourself." When they were coming out of church, getting in the car, the mother asked the little girl, "Hey, tell me, how much did you give today?" And the little girl said, "I was going to give the dollar, but just before the collection, the man in the pulpit said that we should all be cheerful givers. And I knew I'd be a lot more cheerful if I gave the quarter. So I did." Funny. But I wonder if there are times when our thinking matches that of the little girl of our story. You know, Paul wrote to the church in Corinth that God's love loves a cheerful giver. And as I said, today I want to ponder on our understanding of cheerful giving. Because we may be at risk by mistaking comfortable giving with cheerful giving. I wonder if cheerful giving is based on the way you believe. It's based on faith rather than on the way you feel. I wonder if cheerful giving has more to do with convictions than with feelings, and we are getting it backwards. Or perhaps cheerful giving is based on both feelings and convictions. Either way, I want to invite you to find the meaning of the word cheerful, not in the feeling we get from the value, comfort, and security that our material possessions provide us with. Rather, I want to invite you to find such meaning in the act of giving. Julian of Norwich wrote, "Cheerful givers do not count the cost of what they give. Their hearts are set on pleasing and cheering the person to whom the gift is given." As the children were saying this morning, cheerful giving is happy giving, but happy doesn't mean contented or comfortable giving. As I was preparing on this, and please, I want to invite the folks out there to follow me. They have the longer version, and I'm cutting pieces here, but yes. As I was studying for the text this morning, I came across the meaning of the word cheerful in Greek. You know, I'm not going to speak Greek, but the Greek word for cheerful means pretty much the same in English. Cheerful, joyous. But the word in the original language also has an inbuilt sense of readiness. It means to be ready to act at a moment's notice, to be prepared. So when I think about cheerful giving, and this is what I want you to learn today as you go home, and you think about cheerful giving throughout the week and throughout your life, I want you to always keep in mind this next sentence. Cheerful giving is willing and spontaneous. Cheerful giving is about being ready to act at a moment's notice. It's about being ready to give all the time. So when Paul writes, God loves a cheerful giver, the apostle is saying, God loves those who are willing and ready to glorify the Lord as they store up treasures in heaven by contributing to the well-being of others. So cheerful giving is about being willing to give. Being ready to give is about being spontaneous in our giving. You know, from the text, we learn that cheerful givers do not give out of compulsion or reluctantly. That's what Paul said to the church in Corinth. And that leads me to believe that cheerful givers give out of gratitude, dear friends. You know, for many years, when I first came into the country, I come from a communist country. Religion is something just for the four walls inside of the church. When I first came to the country and I saw we had televangelists, I was so happy about it. Wow, the word is being spread through TV. However, later on, I was a little disappointed with what I saw. And for instance, I've learned on TV that you have to plant the seed and renew the blessing of God for 12 more months. I don't know if you heard that. I've heard that in my life. That's not the reason we give. We give out of gratitude. We do not give to receive something in return. Even though we believe that, where am I going down here? That's what happens when you... Even though we believe that whoever sows generously will also reap generously, and whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, the motivation of our giving is not to receive more, but to express our gratitude to God. Are you with me on that? Can you say amen to that? So cheerful givers, dear friends, do give spontaneously, are ready to give, are willing to give, but they give not to just say, oh Lord, I'm putting 5 today, and I'm expecting a return of 25 tomorrow. Right? We don't do that. Cheerful givers give out of gratitude. We understand what, the Deuteronomy says. God gives human beings the ability to produce wealth. Lord, I'm so thankful you gave me breath this morning, that I have the strength to go to work and produce something, to contribute something, that the best I can do is just give you a portion back. Cheerful givers do not give out of compulsion, out of obligation. They do give out of gratitude. There is something else we need to keep in mind as we think about cheerful giving. You heard Paul saying, give whatever you have decided in your heart. And that may be perhaps subject to misinterpretation. That may be perhaps something that people may take to say, give whatever you want to give. And I think this interpretation can be dangerous if we are not honest with the reading of the text and we are trying to use Paul's words to justify our preferences and practices. And if we want to be honest, we have to put this statement within the context of Scripture. Because Paul, when he says you should give whatever you have decided in your heart, Paul is not saying you should give whatever you want to give. Those two are two different things. Last week we were talking about that, yes, it's not about amount. It's about how much you invest in your giving. And when we talk about that it's not about amount, we are also saying that our giving has to be proportionate to the way that we have been blessed. Right? So it's not just give whatever you want to give, but give according to the proportion you have been blessed. For instance, I remember the story of Zacchaeus. And without going into much details with the story of Zacchaeus, I want to mention that story to you because I think it is a really good example of what cheerful giving is all about. For instance, you may remember when Zacchaeus had the encounters with Jesus, he said to the Lord, Lord, look, Here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. I want you to pay attention to what is happening here. Because as I said, the story is a perfect illustration of cheerful giving. First, Zacchaeus is saying here and now. He is ready, right? He's showing spontaneity. You know what I'm talking about, right? He's showing readiness to give. Here and now, demonstrating readiness, willingness. Second, Zacchaeus is responding to Jesus' generous act of coming to his house when nobody else in town was willing to do so. So out of gratitude, he's saying he's ready, and he's also showing gratitude and saying, Jesus, because nobody has paid me a visit for the longest time, and you are so great and so graceful, and you have come here. The only thing I can do is just to give. Are you with me so far? So ready, gratitude, and there is something else. Zacchaeus sets the amount, not Jesus. In other words, Zacchaeus is giving whatever he wants to give, but Zacchaeus' giving is proportionate to his means. I'm going to give half of what I have. I'm pretty sure he got a lot of wealth. Right? So his giving is proportionate. What I'm trying to say, dear friend, is that I am convinced that we should give what we decide in our hearts. But if we want to make an honest interpretation of Paul's writing, we need to put this statement within the context of Scripture and remind ourselves that God through Moses commanded us, saying, each man must bring a gift in proportion to the blessings the Lord your God has given him. I am impressed by the fact that Jesus sees Zacchaeus' generosity as an expression of his conversion. And this reminds me of Luther's famous quote. There are 3 conversions necessary. The conversion of the mind, the conversion of the heart, and the conversion of the pocketbook. Let me finish with the story. Sam Houston, Samuel Houston, right? You know your history. Hero of Texas. Gave his life to the Lord in the later years of life and asked to be baptized. He was taken down to a little country stream, and as the pastor said, General Houston, you should take your glasses off because I'm going to immerse you in water. The general took his glasses off and took out some paper he had in his pockets. Then, just as he was getting ready to go into the water, the pastor noticed that Houston still had his wallet in his pants. And he said, well, General, you might want to take the wallet out of your pants. It is going to get wet. And Houston responded, if there is any part of me that needs baptizing, it is my wallet. So Houston was baptized, wallet and all. Dear friends, I want you to keep this in mind. You know, our financial life is not detached from our faith. We have to see our keeping and giving both as statements of our faith. How we use our resources is a big statement of our faith. Somebody keeps reminding me, if you want to see people's priority, look at their calendars and look at their checkbook. Right? Our financial life is not detached from our faith. As I said a couple of weeks, we're called to be, and we can be generous givers. And today, I am reminding you that you are not only called to be a generous giver, but also to give cheerfully, which means that you are ready and willing to give at all times. That you give out of gratitude. And that you give what you decide in your heart. But as we make such a decision, we keep in mind that the blessing the Lord God has given us. And our giving is proportionate to such blessings. As I bring this to an end, friends, I borrow the words of C.S. Lewis, who said, I do not believe one can settle how much we ought to give. I am afraid the only safe rule is to give more than we can spare. As we join me in this journey, friends, I invite you to pray to God to help us be cheerful givers. Amen.